Welcome to Fandom Frenzy. Today, we're diving straight into the wild world of you,
Hmm.
and specifically that enduring mystery around, well, Love Quinn.
Love Quinn.
Yes,
Despite what we all saw on screen, the question just keeps popping out. Could she actually still be alive?
it really is a testament to the character, isn't it? That this theory has so much staying power.
Totally.
I mean, Love Quinn's story, it seemed pretty final. Very final, actually. But the way it happened, it left just enough wiggle room, maybe.
Exactly. Enough for speculation, and boy, have fans run with it.
They really have.
Think about it. Joe poisons her.
Right.
Then the whole house goes up in flames. Super dramatic.
Very dramatic.
But we never actually got that, undeniable visual confirmation, did we?
Right.
No body identified on screen, nothing concrete.
And that taps right into that classic storytelling trope, doesn't it?
The no body, no death rule.
Yeah, precisely. If you don't see the confirmed corpse, the door is always slightly ajar. And with Love, that possibility just seems to have really hit home for viewers. It feels like it. That ambiguity, it allows for, well, hope for some fans, or at least the potential for a massive twist later.
Right. And it's interesting because even the people, behind the show, they've sort of acknowledged how compelling she is.
Oh, you mean the co-showrunner's comments?
Yeah, exactly. Michael Foley, in that Swoon interview, he said something like, it wouldn't make sense to just slot her back into the story as it was told.
Right, given how season 3 ended.
But then he immediately floated this hypothetical, didn't he? Like, what if they cut to her voiceover right after the poisoning?
Oh yeah, envisioning her show.
Exactly. Her show. It kind of suggests they, well, at least played with the idea of her surviving, or they knew the audience would want her to. They knew the narrative pull.
It's almost like they knew they'd made a character just too interesting, too complex to just, let go of easily in people's minds.
I think so. It shows they understood her strategic mind and also that desire from the audience to maybe see her finally outsmart Joe.
Which brings us to season 4 with the hallucinations. They brought her back, but only in Joe's head. For a lot of viewers, though, did that just make the yearning worse? Like wanting something more real?
Possibly. Certainly kept her presence alive in the story, didn't it? Even if it was just, quote-unquote, in Joe's mind. But maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it fueled the idea that her influence was still tangible somehow.
Yeah, and that definitely feeds into the online discussions. They are passionate.
Oh, absolutely.
You see so many comments, threads titled, "I want Love Quinn back." People saying they loved the season where she was alive and hoping she'd show up in season 5.
There's a strong sentiment, yeah.
And even that idea that the show could be better if Love Quinn is the final girl. What do you think is behind that really strong desire for her return?
Well, I think it really speaks to her complexity. She wasn't just, a straightforward villain.
Not at all.
She mirrored Joe, his darkness, his obsessions, but in her own unique, terrifying way. No other character really did that.
True. There was that twisted symmetry.
Yeah, and maybe viewers felt her death left a kind of void. That intense, chaotic energy that really defined their whole dynamic. It was gone.
And it's funny because some arguments for her survival actually lean into the show's, well, its own level of realism or lack thereof sometimes.
Right, the suspension of disbelief factor.
We've seen some pretty wild things. I mean, the portable cage someone mentioned on Reddit.
Uh-huh, yes. The comment about the show trying to be realistic while having a portable cage, that sparked a whole debate.
About how realistic you actually is. Someone called it beyond ridiculous.
And that's kind of the point, isn't it? If the audience has already accepted that, maybe a cleverly fake death isn't such a huge leap after all.
It almost fits within the show's established world in a weird way.
Exactly. The threshold for disbelief shifts. If we're okay with elaborate stalking, complex frame-ups, maybe a meticulously planned escape is, well, plausible within that context.
There's also that other fan angle, the whole Bonnie and Clyde potential.
Ah, yes. Joe and Love, partners in crime.
The idea of them just going on this murder rampage together, it's been floated even if people admit their personalities would clash eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But the dramatic idea of it, it's kind of irresistible, isn't it? What does that fantasy tell us?
I think it highlights the dark magnetism of their connection, despite all the toxicity, the abuse.
Yeah.
There's this strange sense that they understood each other
Mm.
on some fundamental, really twisted level.
Okay.
So the Bonnie and Clyde thing, it taps into that fantasy of shared darkness, right? Two predators finding their match.
But, okay, we have to be fair. There's the counter-argument, a very vocal one.
The she's dead, get over it camp.
Pretty much people saying, look, logically, based on what we saw to her survival, is just incredibly unlikely.
And they have a point from a purely practical standpoint.
So what's the strongest argument against Love being alive?
I mean, realistically, it's the Aconite poisoning combined with the house fire. That's a very lethal combination. The show made a point of showing how potent the poison was. Joe specifically chose it because it mimics a heart attack. And then the fire. Visually, it was devastating.
Yeah, the whole place went up.
So to survive both of those, it would require, well, a massive suspension of disbelief, even for you.
It's a huge hurdle within the show's own logic.
It really is.
And it's interesting, too, that even in the final season, season 5, some fans were disappointed she didn't show up.
Noticed that too.
Not even in a flashback or another hallucination. People really missed her presence, didn't they?
It suggests her impact, Her character just lingered. Even after she was supposedly gone, the audience felt that absence, felt like maybe some threads were left untied.
Yeah.
So even if the writer's intention was she's definitely dead, the connection fans had was still super strong.
Okay, but let's dive deeper now into the really intricate theories. The ones that go beyond just, maybe she crawled out.
Right. The ones where Love isn't just a survivor, she's potentially a puppet master.
Playing a much bigger game from behind the scenes.
These theories really lean into her cunning, her resourcefulness. Maybe stuff we only glimpsed while she was seemingly alive.
Okay, like the body double theory. This one's pretty detailed.
It is. It takes the Quinn family's wealth and influence.
Which we know is vast.
Exactly. And it connects it to that later reveal about their Lefebvre business dealings, organ trafficking, specifically mentioned in season 5.
Whoa, okay, so the theory uses that.
Yeah, the idea is if they're involved in that, could they procure a body double, stage the scene? There are even mentions of, like, a shared tattoo seen on a morgue attendant and later a medical examiner, suggesting Quinn connections.
Wow, okay, that's elaborate.
Very. And things like dental records being processed by a company linked to the Quinns.
Yeah.
It paints a picture of a meticulously planned deception.
So the fire wasn't the end, it was an escape hatch.
That's the core idea. Compelling because it uses elements already in the show, just reinterprets them.
And what about Paris, the Marianne situation in season 4?
Ah, yes. Marianne's escape from the cage. The official story is her friend Nadia helped her fake her death and escape.
Right.
But the theory posits, what if it wasn't Nadia's friend who provided that final, crucial help? What if it was Love?
Why would fans think that?
Well, there's Marianne's friend Juliet saying the rescuer knew things nobody could know. Specific details about Joe. There's mention of a police sketch artist rendering resembling Love. And even the sedation technique used on Marianne matching one Love might use.
Okay, so connecting dots across seasons, what's the significance if it was Love?
It changes everything, doesn't it? It suggests Love isn't just hiding, she's actively interfering in Joe's life. Yeah. Maybe not just wanting him dead, but wanting to dismantle his world, use his past against him. It's way more complex.
Wow. Okay, and the money, there's a financial angle too.
Yep, the Aconite Ventures shell company. Apparently registered right around the time of Love's supposed death.
Aconite, like the poison. Subtle.
Very. And this company allegedly has ties to a Swiss bank account, one that becomes active or makes moves that seem synced with Joe's major decisions or troubles later on.
So like funding operations against him.
Potentially. Or just managing her own escape and new life. Either way, it suggests premeditation, a plan, a financial safety net established before the fire.
It adds that layer of like cold calculation.
Exactly. It moves beyond just frantic survival.
In even small things, like gifts sent to Henry, their son.
Yeah. Fans have latched onto those, like a jigsaw puzzle from a bakery called a Fresh Tart.
Which was the name of Love's Bakery.
Precisely. Or a children's book about a mother wolf. A French lullaby Henry somehow already knows.
Little breadcrumbs.
Potentially. Or just coincidences the showrunners threw in. But fans see them as signals. A mother watching from afar, it shows how deep people dive, looking for any connection.
It really shows that emotional investment, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Looking for patterns, wanting those loose ends tied up, even if they have to tie them themselves.
And what about Ellie, Joe's neighbor from season 2?
Ah, Ellie. Some theories propose her as Love's, like, silent partner.
Really? How?
Well, Ellie's tech savvy, right? She receives anonymous funding from a guardian angel who hated Joe.
Okay.
And some anonymous tips that hindered Joe later on seem to correlate with places Ellie is known to be. The idea is Love, with her resources, could be funding Ellie, using her skills.
A very unlikely alliance born of shared trauma with Joe.
Exactly. And there are even smaller things, like tactics used by a vigilante group later resembling how Love dealt with 40's abuser. Little echoes.
Okay, this is getting intricate. What about the very, very end, the final scene of season 5?
Oh, the bookshop scene. Yes. That's prime fodder.
What are the key things fans point to there?
Okay, so the hand placing the book. Some viewers claim to see a distinctive wrist scar, one Love supposedly had.
Visual evidence, maybe?
Then there's the reflection in the window, a woman's silhouette. Is it intentionally ambiguous? Does it resemble Love?
Open to interpretation, I guess.
Definitely. And the name of the bookstore itself, Atropa Belladonna Books.
Belladonna, another name for deadly nightshade, a poison.
Exactly. A final subtle nod, perhaps. Or just thematic resonance.
And these threads, they apparently stretch internationally, too.
According to the more complex theories, yes. The shell company owning Joe's Paris apartment, a London book dealer linked to the nanny's name, a safe house in New York rented by someone matching the body double's description. It creates this web.
A global network of Love's influence.
That's the implication in those grander theories.
Yeah.
That she didn't just escape, she set up an entirely new, hidden infrastructure.
Wow. Okay, so stepping back from all these details, what's the core motivation supposed to be, according to these theories, not just survival?
No, it seems to go deeper. The idea is Love didn't just want Joe dead or gone.
Yeah.
She wanted him to suffer, to experience being trapped, hunted, manipulated, mirroring what he put her and others through.
Poetic justice. The hunter becomes the hunted.
Exactly. The idea of Love turning the tables, being the invisible force, pulling the strings while Joe thinks he's finally won. It's a powerful narrative payoff, even if it's just in the fans' minds. It fits her intelligence, her intensity.
It really does. So, okay, to everyone listening right now, what do you think?
Yeah. Where do you land on all this?
Have any of these theories, these breadcrumbs, sparked something for you? Do you buy into any of it? Or are you firmly in the she's gone camp?
We'd genuinely love to hear your takes. Any clues we missed? Any counter evidence?
Let us know. Because ultimately, whether Love Quinn is technically alive or dead in the universe, it's kind of irrelevant to the idea of her, isn't it? The passion behind these theories, the creativity. It just shows how much that character captured the imagination.
It really does. The show might be over, but the discussion clearly is not. Her impact lasts.
Exactly. So could Love Quinn's story really be finished? Or is it just possible, just maybe, that her particular brand of genius let her stage the ultimate disappearing act?
A chilling thought to end on.
Definitely something to chew on. Anyway, thanks for diving into this fandom frenzy with us today.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until our next deep dive, keep those theories